up, you guys? This is Danny B. You're watching The Trash Stash. Today I'm going to be doing part 5 of my VHS collection. So here we go. Alright, first up, we got The Nest. And this is about giant cockroaches, or maybe not even giant, maybe just regular sized cockroaches. They invade these people. I last saw this in 2006. I barely remember it, but I remember it's pretty good. And I guess it's kind of hard to find, too. But, yeah. Cool movie, The Nest. Right, next up we got Dazed and Confused. And a lot of people love this movie. I'm actually not that big of a fan. It's okay, but I much prefer Fast Times at Ridgemont High over this one. Those are the two that always get compared, Fast Times and Dazed and Confused. Yeah, I like Fast Times way better than this one. It's alright, though. Next up, we got Time Waits for Snowman. And I don't know what the hell this is. I picked this up at the flea market because it was a quarter. And the guy in the back really cracks me up. He's got 4 watches. And I think he keeps saying, like, Time Waits for Snowman or something like that. Some kind of skiing video. But they keep cutting to this guy. And look at this guy. Fucking arms crossed, sunglasses, and some swatches. Hilarious. That's Time Waits for Snowman. Alright, next up we got Wild and Reckless. I heard this movie's really good. I've never seen it. It's still sealed. But yeah, I gotta check it out. Alright, then we got Skeeter. And I'm guessing this is some kind of mosquito horror movie. I've never seen it, but picked it up because it's such a cool cover. Alright, then we got Lockup. And this was pretty good. This is Sylvester Stallone. He goes to prison, and then you get, what's his name? Donald Sutherland is the warden, and he's corrupt, and he's, like, torturing Stallone and shit, and it's pretty funny, too. You got a scene where they're fixing up a car in prison, and one of the guys starts driving the car all through the prison yard and shit. It's like, what the fuck? But, yeah, pretty good. Lock up. Alright, then we got Torque. And this was some kind of Fast and the Furious ripoff with motorcycles. I never watched this video. I worked at the theaters when this came out. And I seen, like, parts of it, but not the whole thing. I love Ice Cube. Ice Cube's my favorite rapper. I don't know what he's doing in this, though. But maybe I'll check it out someday. Alright, then we got Just Another Story. And I'm not really sure what this is. It says rap hard and dream huge. So maybe something kind of like Hustle and Flow or something. I don't really know. But that's that. We got Christopher Lee in Murder Story. And I'll have to watch this because I like Christopher Lee. I don't know what this is really, but the cover looked cool. Then we got some weird version of Pinocchio. Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night. I've never watched it, but I saw this cover in the thrift store and I was like, is Pinocchio in hell? What the fuck? It looks cool. It looks kind of like similar to Finding Nemo, or what's that Nemo movie where Nemo in Dreamland or something like that? It looks like that. Alright, then we got Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. I believe this is a canon movie. Is this canon? No. It's got Molly Ringwald in it, and is this the one with Ernie Hudson, or am I thinking of something different? Michael Ironside's in this thing. Yeah, Ernie Hudson, right there, yeah. I'll have to watch it. I've never seen it. Alright, then we got It Lives Again. And I believe this is like some kind of killer baby movie. Yeah, It's from Larry Cohen, who did The Stuff and a bunch of other classic movies. I got this one, and I got one of the sequels, or maybe the first one, too. Then we got Grumpy Old Men. My neighborhood has, like, these free book boxes. Like, you walk down the street, and you could take a book if you want. Sometimes people put movies in there, and I found this in there, Grumpy Old Men. I always loved this movie. I saw this when it first came out in theaters back in, like, 94 or something. Yeah, cool movie. Alright, then we get Guney cartoons. And this is like one of those, what do you call it? Where the copyright's no longer good. Public domain, like public domain cartoons. And there's one where it's like a bunch of like potatoes are the police and stuff. I don't know, it's kind of goofy, but pretty cool. Alright, then we got the most rare video in my whole collection, Speed. You know, everyone has a copy of Speed, maybe even 3 or 4 copies of Speed. Awesome movie. Fucking one of the best action films ever, really. Like, it's one of those that's like so, it got so played out in like the 90s that you kind of just stopped giving a fuck whenever you saw it. You just be like, ah, fuck that movie. But I watched it again like probably 2 years ago, and it's really good, actually. Like one of the best action movies. And Dennis Hopper's awesome in it. Alright, then we got The Animal with Rob Schneider. And I always liked Rob Schneider. People give him a bad rap and say he sucks and stuff. I think he's funny. And this was when he turns into an animal. It's pretty good. Then we got Brain Scan. And this is Edward Furlong. What happens in this? He has like a computer butler, and someone's chasing him, like some kind of demon from the computer or something like that. I watched this one time a bunch of years ago. It's pretty funny. It has a scene in it that we were laughing about where he films himself like making a video calling for help, and he's like, "I'm 16 and I'm scared to death." He says something like that, and it's real goofy. Yeah, that's Brain Scan. Alright, then we got Helen Hunt in Murder in New Hampshire. And I never thought Helen Hunt was that good looking. I mean, she's always cute, but she's pretty hot in this. This is also based on the same case that the movie To Die For is based on, but this is more like the true story, whereas To Die For took like some fictional liberties with it. But I didn't know this was that one was based on a true case. So when I was watching this and like the plot started unfolding, I was like, is this like a ripoff of To Die For or some shit? Because it was the exact same plot. But yeah, it's I guess it was a true story, sadly. Alright, then we got The Squeeze with Michael Keaton, and I must have took the tape out because his box is empty, but you know, Michael Keaton is my favorite actor, and this movie is pretty cool. It's kind of like a thriller, where he's like a kind of like a con man, and he gets into some kind of trouble. I forget with what, but he's like on the run the whole movie, and I think Ray Don Chong is in it. And he does something with, he builds like an electric triceratops or something. It's very weird. It's kind of dreamlike. Like it reminded me of like shit that would happen in a dream. Alright, then we got Dead Easy. And I haven't watched this. I probably should because it looks pretty crazy. Georgie is a hustler. Alexa is a hooker. Armstrong is a cop. All of them are absolute beginners trying their luck in the neon heart of the city. And this is by Media. It's probably pretty rare because I've never seen it anywhere else. I think I looked up some info on it, and it was like some kind of like Australian cult film or something like that. I should check it out. That's dead easy. All right, then we got Showgirls. You know, Paul Verhoeven. I always have trouble saying his name. You know, erotic thriller about people double crossing each other in the showgirl business, Las Vegas. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, then we got one of my favorite Chuck Norris movies, Sidekicks. And this movie is fucking hilarious. This is Jonathan Brandis, you know, who sadly he committed suicide, but he was in a bunch of movies. He plays a kid in this who's kind of a nerd, and he daydreams all day about being best friends with Chuck Norris. And it's not like Chuck Norris, like he's not playing a character. The kid is literally having like daydreams about hanging out with Chuck Norris himself. And then Chuck Norris shows up, and they got to defeat Joe Piscopo, of all people. Yeah, this is kind of like a ripoff of Karate Kid, but it's, I wouldn't say it's better than Karate Kid, but it's a lot funnier than Karate Kid. Yeah, Sidekicks. Alright, then we got Queen of the Damned, who, you know, sadly, Aaliyah died. She was one of my favorite singers. I haven't watched this. I should, because, you know, Aaliyah's a babe, and I love her music and stuff, so you should check out her one movie she did. Yeah. Queen of the Damned. Alright, then we got Extro. And I guess this movie's worth a lot of money on VHS. I found it for $1 back in the day. The flea market. And this movie's awesome. It's like one of the craziest alien movies I ever saw about, like, it has special effects of, like, a grown man coming out of, like, you know, like a woman giving birth to a grown man. And then there's an awesome scene where it's like a giant toy soldier is knocking at someone's door, and then when the woman answers, he just takes bolt cutters and cuts the lock immediately and breaks in. I fucking died laughing at that part. Yeah, I gotta rewatch this. It's been a while since I've seen it. That's Extra. Alright, then we got Snoop Dogg and Urban Menace with Ice-T, Big Pun, and Fat Joe. And I think this is a horror movie. I'm not entirely sure. It might be post-apocalypse or something, but yeah, it looks cool. I love all those guys as rappers, so I should check this out. Alright, then we got Tape is Falling Apart. Dead End City. Not the tape, the case. I might as falling apart. I watched this, I kind of spaced out while watching it. I remember it's kind of good. That's Dead End City. Alright, then we get Spliced. And I heard this is actually good. I haven't seen it. I was watching an interview with the guy that did all of like Megadeth's album covers, the artist, because I'm into art and stuff. Someone asked him like what his favorite horror movie was, and he said Spliced. And I was like, I have that movie. I haven't seen it though. But yeah, it's I guess it's pretty good. Alright, next up we got Shrunken Heads. And this is probably my favorite full moon movie. Maybe one or two others beside this, but I love this one. This is written by Matthew Bright, who directed the Freeway movies and wrote them too. And he wrote this one, and it's directed by Richard Elfman, who did Forbidden Zone and is Danny Elfman's brother. And yeah, this is 3 kids are killed by a mobster woman named Big Mo because they videotaped the thieves doing some crime. And then a voodoo guy that lives in the apartment with them brings them back to life as shrunken heads. And the shrunken heads are flying around out for revenge, and they turn people into zombies who don't eat people, but the zombies clean up litter off the streets. It's an awesome movie, Shrunken Heads. And then we got Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou, and a cut case. I always love the art on this box. Look how cool that is. Like, you can't tell really. It almost looks like a photo, but they put like all the texture in the lockers and stuff. So cool. Yeah, this is the sequel to Prom Night, which is actually better than the first one. It goes the supernatural route about this woman, or not a woman, but a young lady who was killed during the prom and is back haunting everyone. Yeah, Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou. And I gotta see Prom Night 3, because she's in part 3 also. And then we get Twister, Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, chasing tornadoes and saying stuff like, huh, yeah, you thought the F5 was pretty bad, or some, all this like corny tornado lingo that they say in this. Fun movie, Twister. Next up, we got Street Smarts, and this is Christopher Reeve as a reporter, and what's her name? Baker something. Kathy, what is it? Kathy Baker? She's in, Kathy Baker from Edward Scissorhands. Then you got Morgan Freeman, and this is one of Morgan Freeman's most unusual roles. He plays a street pimp in this. And, like, he's got the Morgan Freeman voice, but he's, like, putting guns to people's heads and saying stuff like, which eye do you want me to put out? And stuff like that. I don't know. Cool movie. And it's put out by Canon and Media. Holy shit. Canon and Media. Yeah. I haven't seen it in years, but, yeah. Then you got The Mangler. And this is directed by Toby Hooper, and it's got Robert Englund, and story by Stephen King. All the three of those guys, I should watch it. I haven't watched it yet. Yep. All right, next up we got The Clones. I haven't seen this either. Cover is very cool. My video store used to just have like a ton of VHSs for $1, and I would go in and buy anything that had like a cool cover like this. Alright, then we got Brotherhood of Justice, and this was a made-for-TV movie with Keanu Reeves and Kiefer Sutherland, and I forget if they're enemies in the movie or if they're on the same side, but they form some kind of like vigilante group and go up against someone. Yeah, I kind of forget a lot of it, but it was cool. Brotherhood of Justice. Alright, next up we got Mi Vida Loca, My Crazy Life. And I used to go out with this Mexican girl, and when she saw my tapes and saw that I had this, she kind of was like, how do you know about this? Yeah, fucking some kind of like classic hood movie. I've seen like half of it and it was pretty good. It was about like a group of girls, and they're friends with a drug dealer. I think it's kind of like, it's supposed to be kind of like a girl version of American Me. American Me, how do you say that? Yeah, good movie. So, I mean, the half of it I saw so far. Alright, next up we got Scars of Dracula. And I love Christopher Lee as Dracula. He's my favorite Dracula. I love AD 72 the most, just because it's a fun movie. And then after that, I like this one. This one is like his most brutal, where he's like actually like whipping people and stuff like that. Yeah, look how badass he looks with the red eyes. So sick. And he throws someone off a building in this, which cracked me up. And I think he has the most screen time in this one, too. Cool movie. I should really get it on like a DVD or Blu-ray or something, because this thing came on EP mode, and the quality is fucking terrible. But yeah. Cheapest way to get the movie, though. Scars of Dracula. Then we get Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Bob Hoskins is amazing in this movie. His performance actually like really kind of makes me sad in some parts. The part where he's like looking at photos of his brother who died, man, that scene gets emotional for me. But yeah, fucking hottest cartoon ever, the Jessica Rabbit. I can't believe they put that in a kids movie. Come on. Then you got Roger Rabbit, who's hilarious in this, and you got all the awesome Looney Tunes and cool Disney characters like Donald Duck is in it, and Donald Duck and Daffy Duck having the piano battle, just awesome. And then I love the Weasels. The Weasels are so sick. They're some of my favorite cartoon characters. And they're original, too. They started in this movie. And you got Christopher Lloyd, who used to give me nightmares as the Judge, what's his name? Judge Toon or something like that. But yeah, he's fucking scary in this, especially when his eyes pop out with the cartoon eyes. Man. Awesome, awesome movie. I don't know if this counts as a Disney movie, but this is my favorite Disney movie if it counts as that. Made by Zemeckis, who, did like Back to the Future, Tales from the Crypt, Forrest Gump. Alright, then next up we got Rocky 3, and probably one of my least favorite Rocky movies, actually. I love part 1 and 2. Part 3 is where it goes downhill. I don't like part 4 very much at all, really. And I actually like part 5. Then Rocky Balboa is okay, and Creed I thought was pretty decent. Yeah. Part 3 is cool, though. It's just not anywhere near as good as the first two, in my opinion. But what's funny, the reason why this looks like complete garbage, I actually found this on the sidewalk. I was doing some exercise. I was going out for a walk, and someone, I guess they were getting rid of it, and they just put it out on the, not even in a box or anything, just set it on the street like that on the sidewalk. So I was walking. I was like, oh, Rocky 3. I guess I'll take that. All right, then last up, we got Crime Zone. And this is David Carradine. He's in it a little bit. He's not the star. It's actually starring Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks, and I forget the guy's name. Peter Nelson, I guess, as this guy named Bone. I love this movie. This is put out by Roger Corman. He didn't direct it, but he distributed it. This is kind of like a post-apocalyptic movie where people live in a safety zone. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a police state where the police tell them like that they're allowed to go to like a gambling pool hall and like a prostitution place, but they have to do it there. If they do it anywhere else in town, they'll get arrested and tortured to death and stuff like that. So then you got Bone and Sherilyn Fenn are trying to escape and trying to get to the other side of town where it's just like no police at all. It's just like wilderness, basically. Pretty cool movie. It's a little bit like The Running Man, too, because they get, or maybe Bonnie and Clyde is a better comparison, because the police like frame Sherilyn Fenn and Bone and put them on the news, and they're on the run the rest of the movie. Why I put this one last? This is some of my favorite like VHS cover art. Actually, this might be my favorite VHS cover. I mean, look how cool that is. And for years, I was trying to figure out who did it. For about like 3 or 4 years, trying to figure out who painted this cover, right? The only clue I had was down here there's a signature that says Craig, right? Well, it turns out it was my friend's dad. Of all fucking people. I thought it would be someone from Italy or something like that. My brother's friend's dad painted this cover. I knew that guy was a poster artist and that he did the posters for the Garbage Pail Kids and Monster Squad. So one day I was looking at the Monster Squad posters and I noticed it had the same Craig signature as on this. I was like, wait a minute. Holy shit. The cover I was trying to figure out for 3 years, who I thought would be like an artist from Italy, like Enzo Schiotti or something like that. It was fucking the guy that lives like 4 blocks away painted this thing. And not only that, but I have original artwork from him in the house while I'm trying to figure out who painted this thing. I'll show you. So this is a painting he did of my brother. And you zoom in on this. See that? How it says Craig 17-2010. And, yeah, see, it's the same Craig. And my mind was blown, because this is hanging up the whole time in the other room while I'm trying to figure out who painted this thing. And then I messaged the guy, or I talked to him through Facebook, and it turns out that's him on the cover. Like, he posed himself in a Darth Vader helmet, he said, and painted this thing for the cover. So, like, man, that's the coolest self-portrait ever. So that's Crime Zone. Cover art by Craig Nelson, who did the posters for Garbage Pail Kids, Mac and Me, Monster Squad, and a bunch of other movies. Alright, you guys, this was part 5 of the VHS collection. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, comment, let me know which ones of those looked cool to you, which ones you've seen and all that stuff. Alright, you guys, peace out.